Okay, there we go. All right, last thing. All right, this one horse is interesting to me, Carbone. Right, guys? I mean, is anybody else kind of thinking this horse is a long shot possibility?
Yeah, he got into that pace duel last time with his stablemate. So, I mean, the 13's probably going to send for him, but there's definitely more talent. You're getting 15-1, probably 8-1 on race day, but there's a
Yeah,
chance there.
yeah. I don't think we're gonna get 15-1 on this one. I actually think this morning line's got a lot of issues. I don't know about you guys. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah,
What's your
this
thoughts
horse
on?
went off favored in the Southwest, so it's hard to believe that it's going to be anything higher than, let's say, 8-1.
Yeah, but do you agree with me that the morning line in this race has a lot of flaws?
Yeah,
I think the 2 horse will be higher than 5-1.
it's hard to say when McPeak has, he's got a couple in here, right? Yeah, he's got the 2 and the 3. I have to believe that the 2 and the 3 are probably going to be closer in odds than they are right now as it stands.
Yeah, the 3 is not. I don't think the 3 is going to be 30-1 either. That's another one. Yeah, there's some other people joining in.
No, the 2 and the 3 are both going to be around probably that 12-1 clip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This morning line's really bad. Oh, okay. Charlize is coming in. I mean, let's get it started. I mean, do we like the 2 horse at all in here? I mean, anybody like the 2?
I actually do. I actually, on the up in class, moving into this next division, Leparou's the same jock that's been on him for a while, so he's one of the contenders. I don't think his 5-1 morning line is going to stand either. I think he'll be higher than that.
Yeah.
I think he's won at the distance, but he loses Lasix.
Yeah, I saw that. That kind of bugs me.
The Lasix rule is going to be key here because last week we had fairgrounds that doesn't apply, but this week, if you notice in this late pick 5 sequence, there's a ton of horses that the LASIK thing is a huge throw out for them because they have one bad race off Lasix and a bunch of good ones on.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then some horses you don't know, like the 1 never had it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a horse like the 3 who had it and ran its best race with it.
Like you said, the 1, if he just didn't like the mud, that would be a big reason to consider it a little bit more on the 1.
Yeah, I just wish that horse could rate a little.
Yeah, that's my point. I'm wondering if the horse could rate. If he can, then he's got a huge chance. But the last 2 times. Anybody like the 3 in here? I mean, I know a couple of guys who sort of like the 3 at 30-1.
I used him as a C on my grid that I just put out on Twitter. I used the 7 as an A, the 11 as a B, and the 3, the 13, the 1, and the another horse, a 6 as C's.
All right,
I think Brian Hernandez is getting first call for McPeak at Oaklawn. So I think the 3's got a better shot than the 2.
Agreed.
I kind of agree too. I think I'd rather have the 3 than the 2. I think that the 2 we've kind of seen the best of what he can be, whereas the 3 I think has upside. He's only ran 3 times, and he probably didn't like the track last time either. There's a lot of horses that don't like the mud, so I'm willing to give that. I'm willing to throw that race out. Who here thinks Timberlake is a single? Anybody think Timberlake's a single?
I put him as a lone A, but I don't know if. I mean, I would definitely back up with like the 11 as a B, and certainly some other long shots as C's.
Yeah, I mean, if he runs his race, he probably wins. I mean, but what do we think about the Breeders' Cup Juvenile? That wasn't a very impressive performance. Or are we willing to forgive him for that? Or
I mean, if you took the top 3 finishers out of that, they would all be shorter than Timberlake here, right?
Yeah.
But we did see the run back of Fierceness being quite bad, but he might just be an inconsistent horse. Muth ran back well, I think. Locked
Yep.
is yet to run back, and some of the
Yeah.
others
He's
haven't.
a nice horse.
Just that number that, I mean, if Timberlake is ready, and for Brad Cox, I think the only horse that has this pattern that he's brought in off that layoff was Essential Quality, and he ran just fine in this race. So it's not a big sample size, but I don't think the layoff is a big downgrade for Brad in this situation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I read an article. I was going to go to the article right now, but I don't want to flip through it. But Brad Cox says the horse is doing as good as he's ever done. I mean, I know it's just trainer talk, but he's very confident on how the horse is doing, and he's working really well. And the workouts seem to suggest that as well, that the horse is in peak condition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Timberlake is necessarily a single for me, but I'm kind of with I don't know what, I haven't heard much from you yet, Jeff, on this horse, but I mean, I think he's an obvious contender. I mean, he's 6-5 morning line. I mean, he will be tough to beat, right? I mean, he could win this race by 5 lengths for all we know.
Could also lose by 5 lengths.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just looking through here, looking at like proven, stakes race form at the distance with no Lasix, there's not a whole lot to get excited about besides him. The Just Steel horse, which, is going to be your second choice, that horse,
Yeah.
to me, I'm not interested in.
Me too.
He's
I'm
kind of
with
going
you
to
on
play
that one.
against. So if I was going to go somewhere else, it would be to a bomber. Maybe, DeSormo sneaks one through every season, so I mean, not that
Yeah.
that horse has got a great shot, but I'd rather play that horse than the 11, the next level horse. And Diamatic, you don't really know what to do. I mean, that horse was so green last time; it ran sideways. So maybe that one would be one to consider. I don't know. What do you guys think about that horse?
Yeah, I think that horse, I mean, we've seen DeSormo do this before, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I know what's his name was talking him up earlier today on TVG when I was watching it. Kurt Hoover. This is who he likes in the race for a long shot.
I'm going to throw out one other long shot for you guys. Go all the way to the outside. The 13 horse that stretches out from some sprint races.
That horse is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of 6 furlong races. I think he's going to clear there, and if he hooks up with Carbone, obviously I don't want either horse, but we don't know that's going to happen. I ideally would love this horse to rate Carbone and maybe rate the Peter Miller horse, because I think he's going to be he draws outside of the 1 and the 4. So if he can rate the 1 and the 4, I think this horse could be really interesting. Proven without
I just
Lasix.
hate the post.
Yeah, wicked post.
The worst post. If this horse had any other post, I mean, I'd probably be very interested in them.
Yeah, I mean, he's raced against some good horses too. Some of those other horses he's gone against are legitimate horses. I just watching those races. I mean, I'm not on track, but he looks like a smaller horse to the eye. Watching those races back, and I just don't know if he's going to get the distance. But going to be an interesting style in here, because if he's able to clear, and let's say Carbone, they try to rate him, and then maybe no other horses go out, you certainly got a shot.
Let's get back to Just Steel, who I agree with Jeff. You and I usually agree a lot. Just Steel's a horse I'm going to try to beat. I for value purposes, because he's going to be clear-cut second choice. And I'm not really impressed with his resume, maybe as others are. I mean, he ran very bad in both grade 1s last year. I mean, he ran in that Churchill sprint race. He won. Okay, that was a sprint race. Then he ran in the Smarty Jones, not the greatest of fields. And then he lost by 8 lengths last time. I mean, I just don't see this horse you know, unless nobody improves, maybe he could win. I mean, that's the only way I see this horse getting in the winner's circle. If Timberlake throws out a dud and nobody else in the race improves, then maybe Just Steel could win. But I just don't see that happening.
What I will say about Just Steel really quickly is he's gonna be a reach for a lot of bettors in here, because if Timberlake doesn't show, he's the clear second choice. He's got proven form over the track. Last time Miss again took that golden rail on him and got that slingshot move. That's how the track was playing weird that day. He was clear second from the rest. And he's besides Timberlake, Just Steel, and the 13 horse and Carbone, there's not really any horses in here with stake experience at all. So people are gonna gravitate towards him. However, Dwayne Lucas's horses tend to kind of go south in one race like this. So it's gonna be either this
Plus
race or the Arkansas Derby.
The post position's not that great either. That's another thing.
No, but can I ask you guys something? You've got the 3 and the 11 coming out of that same Southwest Stakes. That was, I mean, the track was a pure puddle. Do you not just cross a line right through that race and go back to previous form? I certainly would. I mean, you look at the 11, and yeah, that track was muddy, but he was out of gas because of the surface. It's kind of like Anna Marie in the Fairgrounds Stakes race last weekend. Yeah, the horse finished 5th, but I mean, you could see the water reflecting on the track. The chances of getting that exact condition causes me to hesitate, and kind of draw a line through that and say, Just Steel, if he's got his best, he's certainly a contender in this, and I'm happy to take this 6, 7, 8 to 1 inflated line because of it.
No, but see, that's the thing. I don't think you're going to get 6 to 1. I think you're going to get like 3 to 1, 7 to 2.
Well,
No?
I think Timberlake goes off at 3 to 5, so I'd say maybe Just Steel you do get 5 to 1, 9 to 2, maybe 6 to 1. And I think that's fair value on this horse, honestly, considering the winner took that golden rail in the last race. It could be I would take it with a grain of salt. This horse could be improving, or Lucas could be ruining it, because eventually these horses tend to go south with him.
Yeah.
I agree that you throw out the Southwest, but if you go 2 back, then and you look at Catching Freedom, running back and doing nothing last week in the Rising Star, that's more to me damning than the total debacle that the Southwest was.
Well, I wouldn't say Catching Freedom did nothing. I looked at the race the other way. I'd say that race flatters him, because Catching Freedom ran a tight third. He had trouble in the stretch where he got kind of boxed in, and his rider Luis Saez, I think, couldn't get him out. The winner came from on the outside. The second place horse got an easy turtle lead and walked a turtle pace. So I would say that that's a pretty good horse. So I would actually say, he's definitely more one to consider off of that race.
Okay. I have to watch that. I didn't realize he actually hit the board in that race.
Yeah, and the 5 is actually out of that Southwest race too.
Mm-hmm.
Finished 10th, almost 30 lengths back, but previous form isn't awful.
5's a tough one to make a case for here. I don't know if anyone
certainly.
This debacle. I agree. I mean, I watch almost all Oaklawn races. That was one you just have to completely toss.
So, what do you agree in the Risen Star kind of being the same way down at Fairgrounds last week because of the surface? That's my question. I don't have the experience you all do.
Well, with the Risen Star, it seemed like the track played a little more fair. It just played slowly. With that Oaklawn race with the Oaklawn track on Southwest Day, that rail was golden. The winner took that golden rail, ran a monster number out of nowhere. There was a lot of speed in the race, so all the speed quit. So I'd say it's a little bit different.
Okay.
I don't know.
And also,
I was impressed with that Risen Star. I actually think that Risen Star is going to be a very big race for the Derby. I mean, I think all top 3 horses ran very big.
yeah, I thought it was, even the Martha Washington, the same race day as the Southwest, that band of gold horse who's going to be the favorite in the Honeybee earlier in the card, got the same golden trip there. And so that's a horse that I'm going to be rating a little bit as well.
Who's that?
Band of Gold, the two.
Yeah, the Kenny McPeak Craney. I tossed that one as well. Didn't even use it as a C at 2-1. So I'm glad that others agree. Complete toss for me, that horse. When there's I like the other favorite, and then I'll go price hunting.
Oh, we're talking about a different race?
Yeah, we're talking about the filly version of the race.
Sorry to.
No, it's fine. Was just making sure. Also, so people that are listening might not know. The 6 horse, I had this horse last time. I loved him. I thought he was a absolute cinch last time, and he won. But there wasn't much in that race, and all he did is break its maiden on the slop. So I mean, what can we go with on here? Do we want to bet a horse who's just broke its maiden? I don't know if anybody likes this horse. If anybody's out there, speak up. If you like anything in here, or you want to show us something, please let us know. I know Bobby's here. How you doing, Bobby?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Who do you like in this race?
I like the 9.
Oh, see, here we go, a different horse.
I like that.
Oh, what am I doing here? Let's see the 9. Why is this happening? Okay, the 9. Oh, here we go. Let's look at this 9 horse. Broke its maiden at Kentucky Downs, that's Jeffrey's favorite track.
That's my favorite track too.
Oh,
And
Jeffrey,
I love to play that track.
wait a moment. Don't you like that track too, Mike?
Gabe, when we were at Delmar, I had my my eyes.
Oh yeah,
glued to
you were
that
paying
screen.
more attention to Kentucky Downs than Del Mar.
I like. I'm sick. I'm a sick gambler, so I like Kentucky Downs.
I bet Jeff would be the same way.
I cannot wait to go to that track. That is on my bucket list, Kentucky Downs.
Number one
Me
on mine
too.
too.
So
I
Bobby,
definitely want to go
through the
there. Well, I mean, look at this horse. He's done nothing wrong, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean
that
the
last
horse.
race.
The horse, definitely can show some improvement. I mean, you look the last workout at the fairgrounds. That's probably just a little maintenance drill for him. But he threw 2 bullets. The last race. Well, the last 2 races I'm going to throw out because of Rosario. So, I mean, that's just a given because you know how I feel about that guy.
Let me know if you agree with this, Bobby. The last race, I think you could throw it out because this horse doesn't need the lead, and he went to
No,
the
I
lead
mean,
last
the
time.
horse could do whatever he wants. He can come off the pace. He can go for the lead. I mean, the horse is kind of flexible in a way. But
Yeah, but I
I'm
think
going to throw
the
that
lead
race
is.
out because
Yeah,
that
I'll throw it out
day-
too.
that day the track played heavily to closers all day. This horse gets the lead and just spits the bit right at the last second and then just gets swallowed up, by a couple decent horses there that day. So, I mean, that was, I mean, the horse has been running the distance the last 3 races. So, the fitness is going to be there. He's going to finish well. He's probably going to be somewhere, just slightly off the pace, mid-pack, I'm thinking. And then Keith is probably going to try to, I'm just throwing this horse out there as a possible long shot that could possibly upset the field. I mean, the horse could probably jump up a little bit. He's by Cantharos, so I mean, and he's out of a Spritstown mare. So I mean, I don't think the distance is going to be a problem for him. And so I kind of like this horse a little bit. So I'm gonna throw that horse in the mix. I mean, the other horse that I like too is the 13. He's stretching out for the first time, which is fine by me.
That post is brutal.
The post is brutal, yes. But I think he has the early speed that he could probably clear the field if he wants to, because he's he's the early.
Wasn't that what you were saying, Michael?
Yeah, I love him.
The horse is going to the horse is going to clear the field, no problem. He's definitely the fastest of the early speed, out of everybody.
Michael was saying the same thing earlier. Hey, if you guys think the 13 could clear, can come over and clear and get the lead, then, then the 13 won't be a problem.
The horse could possibly have some distance limitations. I mean, they don't, you don't know yet. I mean, his breeding is not really really long, but I mean, we don't know. I mean, looking at Lucky, Warfront, the horse.
I mean,
might be
look at
a
that.
little bit-
It's not it's a pretty close run to that first mile. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot to ask for a horse.
and
First time
obviously,
routing
you
too.
got Ron Marquette, so he must think he's got something here with this horse, or else he wouldn't spot this horse in this race because he's usually pretty good about placing his horses in good spots. So if he doesn't think that he has a chance with this horse, somewhat, then I wouldn't think he would be in here, because if you remember from last week, there was a couple scratches of some horses that are running today from Fairgrounds last week that I really liked, and I was going to use them in my tournaments, but they wound up getting scratched out, and they're in these races on Saturday. So that kind of tells me something, that either the trainers didn't want to have anything to do with the sloppy track. I thought maybe the fields were a little bit more tougher that day for those couple horses. So I think the 13. I think he's spotting them in a good spot. I mean, this is it's a grade 2, but you know what? I'm going to tell you, this is more of an allowance racehorse. These are allowance racehorses here at best. High level, 150,000 allowance races. I mean, there's no superstars in this friggin' field at all. I don't care. I mean, everybody keeps talking, Timberlake, but, listen, the horse is definitely has the possibility. I don't think he's going to win this race, and I don't think he needs to win this race, actually. He's coming off that long layoff, which he'll probably improve from. I think it's probably going to, either he's going to tower over the field, or, he'll probably run in the trifecta. I don't think he really needs to win this race. I think this is going to be, first race back, coming from his 2-year-old season into his 3-year-old season. I mean, he could jump up. I mean, there is a possibility here that, this horse could run an over 100 buyer. You know what I'm saying? Especially at Oaklawn. I think he's going to really, enjoy that track. But, I think it's Timberlake, maybe the 13, and I'm going to give a shot to the 9. I mean, I like Just Steel, but the horse, he always has it all his own way, and he never just. I mean, 4 times he's with the bias every time, and he can't finish the race, even with Ramon Vasquez, and that's my guy right there. That's Nelson's friend. So, him, he finishes like a monster. So, I don't know, but that's who I like. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Timberlake, but I'm gonna give him the upper hand. I like the 9. I like the 13 to stretch out here a little bit, and that's where I'm going. And everybody else is just behind everybody.
Yeah, I'd like the 13 more if the 4 and the 1 weren't in the race.
Yeah, I know everybody keeps talking this Carbone. I mean, the horse is a nice horse, and I like Isaac Castillo. That's probably your superfecta right there.
Anybody else have any thoughts in this race that hasn't spoke yet? Jeff, what's your top 4 in here?
I mean, I think Timberlake is just so far above and beyond this. I mean, if he runs the same race that he ran, last 3 races.
He is, but he might need the race.
Oh, totally. But I just
he might
think
need
that,
the race.
So it's hard for me to come off him, but I do really like Bobby's point about the 9. My only question for the group would be, why do you think on a Prince Sheik Salmon horse, Keith is on that horse rather than Tyler? When Tyler's on that 6, and that 6, if you watch how he broke that maiden, I mean, Joel almost fell off that horse. He started running sideways in the stretch. So that was a head scratcher to me.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what's up with the jockey.
I like the 6 too. I mean, you got Tap It underneath, Gun Runner and everything like that. So I mean, this horse is the only thing is I always take a step back with horses that, especially in a race like this, that just broke their maiden. Especially with the light speed figures and the fractions that he's running.
No lace.
Yeah, like if he was running like maybe a couple seconds faster, and maybe he ran like in the upper 80s or something like that, I would tend to but maybe I'm thinking that he might want to try to crack with this horse. That's why he's got Tyler on there. Maybe he thinks that Tyler has the bigger push on. Maybe this horse needs a rider with a bigger push. Maybe you know what I'm saying, and maybe Keith might be a little bit too small for the horse to maybe not as strong to, you know what I'm saying? He might struggle in the stretch with this horse. Maybe this horse is difficult. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm going to play the 8 underneath the 7 and some of the other horses that we talked about, but I won't be using the 11 because I don't think that there's much value left.
Yeah, I agree with the value on the 11. What are your thoughts on the 13, Jeff? Do you think the 13 could
Well,
clear?
I mean, the horse has been running against really quality competition, and numbers look really good. However, just watching the horse itself, it's a smaller horse that kind of runs upright, which to me, I don't know if he's going to get the distance. But I mean, if you get 15-1 and the horse is on the lead, I mean, you're going to get bang for your buck there, right? I mean, I think it's going to be fun to watch, but I don't know if that horse is going to be able to get the distance.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure either. I'm not sure if he's kind of like distance challenged a little bit.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm
you know what?
thinking.
They're taking. Like I said, they must think that he could possibly do something.
Sure, we're not
That they're taking the shot with the horse, and especially, But you know what? Hey, maybe we'll see tomorrow. Saturday. Who knows? Maybe he decides. Oh, I don't know. I don't want him running out of the 13 hole. Maybe it might take too much out of him or something like that. He might get scratched. Who knows? I mean, we still got 2 days yet. But I think he's good enough. I think he's quick enough early to clear.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this race? All right, let's go to that Philly race real quick. You guys were talking about. You and Mike, what race is that? Is it the 9th?
It's the
10th.
one right. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's 2 before this one.
Yeah.
The 10th?
No, I'm wrong. It's the 9th.
Yeah, I thought it was the 9th.
Yeah, there's a handicap in between. It's the Honeybee.
Who do we like in here? We like Band of Gold?
No, we're against Band of Gold.
We're against Band of Gold.
My
I have
top
not
pick.
looked at this race at all, guys, so I'm looking at it first time with you guys. Oh, West Omaha. Oh, my God.
Yeah, the horse that scratched out of the prep last week. That's where I ultimately went as my only A with the 6, and then I used the 1, 4, 8, and 10 as Bs as kind of bombers. But I think the 6 is the most logical winner here.
Oh, wow. West Omaha. That's going to be a tough one. Anything? How about you in here, Jeff? You're too quiet.
Yeah.
Wait, what race are we looking at?
The Honeybee, the 9th at Oakland.
The 9th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The girl version.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to play against West Omaha. I was going to mess with a couple others in here. Midshipman's Dance hasn't done anything wrong. Looked really professional. This bigger horse that I think is going to be able to get the distance. The breeding on that horse is one without Lasix twice. I don't mind with that running style, the 10 horse, the 10 hole on this horse.
Yeah.
And then also I gave a little look to the 1.
I did too.
Yeah, that horse is talented.
Yep.
I don't know how that horse is working. I'll look at the workouts before I make my final decisions there, but the horse is certainly talented. And I think with the 6 is, more of the class of the field.
Looks like the horse is working out just fine to me.
It sounds like we completely agree here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. When I looked at it before, this horse has a lot. Might not win, coming off the layoff again. We don't know, but the horse is working out madly. So I upgrade that horse big time with his workouts just alone, and then the growth potential going from 2 to 3 year old. So this horse ran a 75. It has been incrementally moving up in his speed, and could possibly jump up maybe another 10, 15 points here. you know, for his little growth there from the past 4 months. So that's a possibility. But you guys are going to think I'm crazy. But the horse that I mean, I do like the 13. I mean, the 10, and I don't like the 6. I mean, I know everybody likes the 6, but I don't really care for that horse. But he was one of the horses that got scratched last week in Fairgrounds. And he was, you know, he was one of them. But I'm not really on that horse. But the horse that I kind of like that could surprise, and you guys are going to think it's crazy, but I really like the 7 here.
You notice how I put the number right on the 7 when you were saying that?
Talk us through that.
A maiden.
You know, the horse has been in the race the last 4 times, and Lucas decides to put him in a stakes race. And so when I see stuff like that, I think he might not win, but I think he's a must use somewhere in your exotics or whatever. Or if you're playing a pick 3, pick 4, or put him underneath in your superfectas or trifectas, because I mean, and just look at the last 2 workouts: 46 workout, 59 workout. Gave him a little break at 52. You know, back in December, had a minute. I mean, you know, the horse is. I mean, probably the best 2 workouts the horse has probably had in the past 7-8 workouts. So obviously that last race didn't take much out of him. So I mean, he comes right back with a little, okay, well, you know, we'll stretch his legs, and then boom, 2 bullets. So I think this horse, maybe he might not win, but I think the horse is going to run a big race.
Interesting.
I can see that horse in the superfecta.
Absolutely.
It might be one of those horses that, you know, plods and, you know, follows other horses. He might be one of those horses. I've seen horses like this hit the trifecta and superfecta and stakes races before. I'd be shocked if the horse won. I mean, I'll be giving you credit for 16 years if this horse wins. But I mean, a trifecta or superfecta placing would not surprise me at all.
I will say, though, in the earlier filly prep races, there is a lot of variability. And that's sometimes where you find the biggest bombs, because there is some horses that have usually had some 4, 2-year-olds, and people just hammer those horses. And then you got some that just come out of nowhere and win at just giant odds. So I do think that the filly division is more ripe for larger prices than this.
You know what? I mean, the more I look at this race, I mean, this race is kind of ripe for an upset.
Yeah, I mean, 2-1 on the 2 is just, I mean, that horse was 24-1 and won in a bog.
Yeah, now you got to get 2-1. That was a sloppy track, too.
So if you're against the 2 and you're against the 6, then you're going to get paid at least 10-1. I mean, maybe the 4 is going to get bet because it's Steve. And he didn't run that poorly last time.
What was that field like in the Silver Bullet Day with West Omaha? Do you remember? I'm going to look it up.
Well, Brad had a couple in there. So he had the...
Well, you had... you have my filly that ran second in there, Perfect Shot. That's one of my Oaks horses that I've been on since last year. So, and then she just ran third at the, what was it, at the fairgrounds last month or a few weeks ago. No, I'm sorry, last week. She just ran third last week in the other big race.
Alpine.
So Prince. I mean that, you know, so you got that, and then you got Sistine Chapel, who ran a couple weeks ago also and ran a nice third also behind that race again. So I mean, you had some nice horses in there that were that the horse was racing against. You know what I'm saying? So
But didn't Brad have 3 in there? So he had Alpine Princess, he had Tariba, and he didn't want to run all 3, I think, against each other.
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think he had 2. I think actually.
And
Yeah,
then
because
he's
that
West
is
Omaha.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
Tariba the winner was his.
What's that?
Tariba the winner was a
Right.
cock.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he had that Alpine Princess horse.
Alpine Princess. Yes.
Mhm. But Bobby, one other thing that you mentioned earlier, I definitely agree with, is in the other stakes race on this card. I really like Notary in there.
That was that was the horse I was going to use last week at the fairgrounds,
Mhm.
and they scratched that horse, and now I see that he's entered today, so I like that horse too.
Yep, I knew you were on him when you said that. So yeah, Gabe
My
knows.
guys.
So obviously he must have thought. I mean, both the trainers must have thought since it was either the track conditions, which I don't think it was the track conditions. I just think that they probably thought that maybe, they entered him in both races and they probably felt, well, okay, maybe the fairgrounds races came up a little bit maybe tougher than they expected or whatever. And then they probably wound up scratching those 2 horses out and then bringing them over here. Not to say that it's not as good of a field, but I'll tell you, last week, that was a great fairgrounds card. I mean, a lot of the races were fully friggin' loaded in every race, and and I'm just happy that all my Derby watch horses ran. They ran well, and with Anna Marie, like what Keith was talking about before, like you got to give a mulligan to that horse. Not a mulligan, but the horse is coming off a 4-month layoff, first race back. Would I have wanted the horse to win? Absolutely, but the horse definitely needed the race. She finished fine. She came flying late. She was last in the field the whole way, and then came flying at the end. And it was even though it was a sloppy track, I saw it more as like on the more muddier side of a heavy sloppy track. It wasn't like a speed bearing like sloppy track. It was like you saw these horses when they were coming down the stretch, like you can see all of them in every race, like they were getting tired coming down the stretch. And all the races in the sprint, I mean, there was nobody that looked like they were like, happy go lucky going down that stretch. They all, all those horses worked hard that day. And, so, and that's going to even be better for them in their improvement, going into their next, whatever their next sequence of races are and stuff like that.
Hey, Jack, you there, Jack, or Scott, or Mr. Sullivan? You guys have any thoughts on this race? Anybody got a major thought? I don't know if they're still there.
It's going to be a great sequence, Gabe. I'm going to track you down and let's get involved in this pick 5.
Oh yeah. You know what? The more I'm looking at, remember, because I barely got into this race right now. And let me tell you where I'm starting to go. I'm starting to go to the bookends. I think I like the 1 and the 10.
Yep, those are my Bs. 6, and then the Bs are the 1, 10, and the 8, and the yeah.
I think the 1.
4.
I think I'm with Bobby. I think the 1 is liable to improve. These fillies, from 2 to 3, they could improve considerably.
And that's one of my favorite. If I really like a horse, that's one of my like favorite angles. It doesn't always, they don't always win, but especially when they're coming off a layoff, like the rule is for every month and it only works from 2-year-old to 3-year-old. So if you got like a horse that's been on a 6-month layoff,
that's one of my angles
coming
too.
back in January or February from the year before, the rule of thumb is for growth, you're supposed to add like about 4 buyer points for every month. So, and that's the potential from the time that they were laid off until now, until they were racing. That so like if the horse ran a 60, well, the horse has the potential to run anywhere from like it could run a 78 to like an 85. But it doesn't always happen. But a lot, and especially if the horse is working out like lights out, like oh yeah, it's like the horse is ready, and depending on the field and everything like that. Like I love that. Like I could see this one jumping up huge, in this race and in this field too. I mean, there's really nothing.
I think
Even though
Jeffrey
like the
nailed it.
odds
I think
don't
this
show
field's
it,
up
this
for
is
the
a pretty
taking.
even. Like I know everybody's heavy on West Omaha, but this is a pretty even field. I mean, anyone can jump up out of here.
Yeah,
And,
I'm with you and Jeff on that. This field's for the taking.
I
Right,
mean,
Jeff?
even if if West Omaha doesn't do anything but stay and mirrors her last speed figure, and somebody else jumps up 5 points, like that could be the winner right there. If they just got a little faster today or whatever, if they just got the jump on her or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's I don't think it's like this race is possibly wide open. I don't see anybody that is like total domination over any of these. But watch tomorrow, West Omaha win by like 10 lengths or something like that.
The field in the Alsabad was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that field's superior to this field.
Totally.
I think these horses would probably run third by 6 against that kind of field.
I do have to point out something about the Darlene Alcibiades race that they come out of. BB's Dream ran back last week. The horse that I was against ran nowhere. Again, that's Kenny McPeak. She came off of the layoff. So that's something to note. Candide is yet to run back for Todd Pletcher. So I just wanted to note that about the Darlene Alcibiades race.
I think I think they're going to be running her next week in the Fountain of Youth weekend.
Yeah, that sounds logical. The Philly version of that race.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's been a way with a good race. 2 back. And Break Your Maiden at Saratoga first time out.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, Ways and Means is a pretty decent horse. Bright Work is a good horse.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the 1, 6, and 10 equally in there, but I'm not using the 2 at all.
Wow. You and I see a race very similar again, Jeff? That never happens.
The 4,
Me and Jeff seem to have very similar minds.
the 4 got a much worse trip than the 2 last time out. So if I want a horse out of that race, it would be the 4. It wouldn't be the 2.
Hey, Jeff, if you're playing Superfectas, put Lemon Muffin on the 4th
Absolutely.
leg.
You got to throw that horse in there, man. I'm telling you.
I think he can run. I have a feeling he's going to be covered.
Something, man.
I have a feeling Lemon Muffin's going to be picking up some pieces here. Not winning, but Lemon Muffin's going to be picking up some pieces at the end.
I bet you the horse takes some money, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe even people betting names. I mean, it's a great name, Lemon Muffin.
I mean, that 2 back, that horse came back and I believe won last weekend, the winner. That was a good race. It's just the fact that, the horse got Lasix last time and, had it and got caught by ball. That was the thing that I put it on top. But I'm not arguing with you that it could hit the board for sure.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any thoughts on this race before we move on? What's that? Who's that talking?
That's Chloe. She's barking.
All right. Well, since we're here at Oaklawn, let's go one more race at Oaklawn real quick.
The Razorback.
The Razorback.
So a quick note about this race before we start is the 4 Ain't Life Grand is scratching as per his connections. His trainer said that they're going to run an allowance on Sunday due to the race went and they're going to give him the race off the layoff because his trainer has pretty bad stats off of a layoff. So just note that he is out.
Who, the 4?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, who do we like in here? Somebody throw something at me.
I went with the 5, 3, 5, 8, 11. Those were the 4 I wrote down.
How about you, Jeff?
Well, Bobby and I are on the same horse. I believe we talked earlier, the notary horse, the 11. Then the other I'm going to be playing equally as the 1. I think the 1 is
I
going to
like
get
that horse too.
much better trip. The Promise Keeper, I'm very happy to say I was on that horse last time, but this race did not set up for him. He kind of cantered home in the slop, and Season Night had all the trouble in the world. So I definitely want Season Night out of that race. And I'm likely going to still use, but the other one that I believe Michael noted I'm interested in a little bit is Speed Bias, the 3. I don't know what to
Tough race, man.
I love the 11. He had the best raw times, and Gabe sent me a raw time sheet from the race at Fairgrounds last race where they scratched. He had the best raw times in that race, and the second best was the horse that eventually won the race. And this horse was highly touted in there. So the fact that he scratches here and you get this price, the 11 is a must use for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that horse a lot. I liked him last week too.
Okay, since I have all you good minds on here, do you believe in this angle at all? You see who I'm looking at right now, the 2, right? You see the bad race, good race, bad race, good race, bad race, good race angle?
Oh yeah, the in and out.
Does that exist?
Yeah, but a lot of these bad races, Gabe, to quickly note, come off of Lasix. Off of Lasix. And now he's back on, he's off of Lasix again today.
Yeah, look, no Lasix. Yeah, look, this horse needs Lasix. There you go, perfect.
I looked at that horse. It certainly has some back class. I just
Yeah,
think
but he needs Lasix. I'm complete throwout.
Yeah, but
Kenny McPeak. This is kind of the wild card crazy race. He was highly touted. If you see, he took money in those races at Belmont. He was very highly touted last year after his Derby Trail when they cut him back against top level milers, but he just fell off, I think.
Yeah, I don't love him at this distance. At the mile, the Oaklawn Mile, I would be a big upgrade, especially in the 2-hole. But I don't like him that last 16th. He's not for me.
The 11 gets no Lasix, so that's going to be kind of a interesting situation since this horse always runs with it.
Yep.
Yeah, good note on him. That's why Fairgrounds, I don't know what, obviously they scratched from there to run here for more money. That makes sense, but there they can run with Lasix. That's the question.
I hate this no Lasix rule. I think it hurts horses.
Oh, absolutely. I just listened to Sonny Pius on the owner's box today on that podcast with Billy Koch of Little Red Feather. It's just ridiculous. Nobody likes it. It's
a really bad rule, and it hurts the horses more than it helps them, in my opinion.
What's the rule?
You can't have Lasix in stakes races.
Graded stakes races.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, and I don't like it. It sounds cruel to the horses to me.
But I will say, at least with the no Lasix on the 11, at least you're getting 4 pounds trade off.
Yeah.
True, this is a handicap. And note that to just show you how bad these horses are in this handicap, none of the horses are carrying like over 124. If you notice, these are some bad horses that don't like to win.
This looks like a very tough race to me, guys.
You guys aren't throwing the 8 in there?
You mentioned him, yeah, Magic Tap. He could be the improved horse, the up-and-up horse. But again, the Lasix thing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going 11, 1, 8, 3. And I'm going to use all those.
I'm going 5, 3, 11, 8, yeah.
But interesting, I looked at the 5. I just didn't know enough about kind of I don't follow Gulfstream. How is the competition that horse has been running against?
Pretty good. He ran in that Harlan's Holiday. So those horses prep for the Pegasus, obviously,
I'm going to look right now.
I mean,
Not a horse that
Yeah,
likes
really.
to win,
Yeah,
but
I mean, the horse has been running against top company.
I
I
guess
mean,
Comparable to this,
New York track.
Jeff. Comparable to this
you know,
field.
you,
I'd say a little better than this field. Some of these horses, Wayburn's a little better. I know O'Connor's obviously he'd be a big favorite in here, especially off a recent form. New York Traffic, the Skipper 2 might buy for favoritism here.
Yep. My concern with that horse was I see a ton of speed in here. Because the 7's going to go. That's all the 7 knows how to do. The 3 is likely going to be on the lead.
Yeah.
Promise
The
for the 10 is going to be on the lead. You know,
2.
8 might be close, then the 2, and so that's the only reason I wasn't that interested in this horse on top. But I could be talked into him just looking at the back class. You're right. I mean, he's been running against much better O'Connor, Grand Aspen, New York Traffic. I mean, those are quality horses.
Yeah, I think he's more likely to rate than the 3, and I use the 3 too, so I'm in trouble for that. But I think this one's more likely to rate.
my only down thing with this horse is that they get Le Peru.
Yeah, that's obviously.
I am not a big
he's as
fan
bad
of
as
him
you can
at
get.
all.
Yeah, he's bad. And well, he won't send. Now we know he won't send the horse, so we know the horse won't be on the lead because it's got Lake Peru, so it's probably rating. That's
Right,
probably
exactly. Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
upgrade right there. But is he passed a lot of horses? I guess there's a couple races where he has. Like, that's my concern with horses, that if you rate them and they haven't shown in the past that they actually win at that.
Yeah, I mean, he has a couple running lines where he passed horses, but no, I think he likes. I think he likes to. He's one of those horses that likes to be in front of other horses. He doesn't like to be passed, but he has a hard time passing. You know, when it comes down to the stretch, because you see he's got a lot of, where he has that one race, and that was just an optional 25 race where he came off the pace and actually passed a couple horses. But everything else, he's always been either on the lead or right off the pace, and he just always seems to fade.
Yeah, I think I use the 3.
I'm not a huge fan of Gulfstream shippers shipping out. Because it's such a
I can see that.
speed favoring track over there, as far as like it's lightning fast and it's like running on concrete and stuff like that. And then when they go to these other places, unless that's what like for me, he would, as much as I like the horse and I've played the horse many, many times, like, one, I would toss him because of Le Peru. 2, I would toss him because I hate when horses come over from other tracks and they don't get a workout over the track. Because I don't know if he's going to like the track or if he's not going to like the track. Is he going to handle the track? So where he's never raced over this track before, I kind of put him on the back burner. I'd rather go with other horses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with all that speed, honestly, the big bomb that I think, if it gets a better ride because Leperu is off the horse, that I'd like to consider would be the 12.
Yeah, I looked at this one, and for me, this is like my ultimate kind of hit the board horse, as Gabe said, like try super, but on the win, and it's just tough for me to get there. He's not much on the resume. Again, all with Lasix, all against worse company, no stakes races really, and he's had fast paces to close into and really never gets the job done. So
he's going to have a better ride, but Hernandez has been on him and rode him pretty well. He broke his maiden with him on him, and then he ran twice, got second by nose. So you hope for a better ride if you're on the 12 than Le Peru is getting that horse.
Yeah, to me, that's a big jockey upgrade right there.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially based on statistics. And all it takes is, even if the rest of the shot comes in, all it takes is him to come in, and this sequence pays 3, 4, 5,000 for the late pick 5, because he'll be every bit of that 20 to 1.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then if you look at it that way, I guess you got to put him underneath, because if you like Notary the last time, he came second to him.
Yep.
And he came in third in the last race and third in the late race before that. So he might not win, but he always has his nose sniffing somewhere around there. So if you're playing a high 5 or a superfecta or something like that, I think you probably throw him in there on the backside. He probably sneaks in there maybe.
Mhm.
Can't hurt 20-1. You know what I'm saying? That could help you super effective if it goes a little chalky on top.
Yep.
I just want to mention something. The 1, the 5, and who else? The 7, who I don't like because too much speed. But these are the 2 horses that, and the 10 have won without Lasix. I'm just mentioning that, where all the other horses have had Lasix pretty much every start. Just something to mention.
Mhm.
Yeah. The other horse that we didn't mention, I guess, is, well, I know they mentioned it very briefly in the beginning, is the 1. I use them as a lone B, but the more sharp people I listen to, they kind of like, they're very high on this horse. So I might have to upgrade him to an A, but he is going to sit that perfect trip and stock, get the rail, and he comes out of that promise keeper.
Yeah.
Right? So just
Oh,
something to note about him. He and his low profile connections could let this one go off at a decent price. So I'd be weary of him, of leaving him off at all, even as a B.
No, definitely. 1 is close to me as for the top pick. I mean, it's such a different race, those Oaklawn Park miles, from because where the finish line is, when you move to the 1 1/16, and flipping the script, you definitely want the 1 out of that race rather than the 10. And
Yeah. Craig Mulkowski and David Aragona both picked him as their top pick on their podcast.
okay.
Who, the 1?
Yeah. And then they said the 11 for second. They both kind of agreed 111.
Wow, Jeff, people are agreeing with you. Hey, guys, look at the 6 horse for a second. I know it's crazy. You don't like it. It's got no chance. But look, it ran. It had first look. It ran on the synthetic in its first 2. Then it ran on turf synthetic. Finally went on dirt and got a 92 buyer.
Not Craig.
And Blair Jordan, the trainer, is known for popping of the occasional couple bombs every year at Oaklawn. And I mean, triple digit payouts, $110 payouts. So this trainer is known for that. And
Yeah,
he,
I don't think
and
this horse. I don't think this horse is going to be 30-1 either.
You wonder
And
why they never ran him on dirt before that last start.
I like
Right?
Blair. I think he's a pretty decent trainer.
Yeah, I mean, I think
And
that's
I love the jockey. He's the jockey's
Proven at
good.
the track. I mean, I've seen worse 30-1 morning lines than the 6.
that was a fast race, actually.
Yeah, that's a very fast race. They ran a 94-12 track variant. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, the horse might get a nice trip laying third behind the speed too.
And that race that he won, he tripped out. There were some decent horses, Sun Thunder and
Well, put it this way: Sun Thunder in the other race on Saturday is already 7-5 on the morning line. So that tells you something right there.
yeah, we'll see him run already.
Oh, that's a good point.
So,
Well,
but
also,
it's a good call. I mean, I hadn't looked at that horse because I saw those turf races, but I think definitely I'd rather use the 6 over the 3 and the 5 now that someone brought him up. So definitely.
this horse ran third in a grade 3. I
Mhm.
mean, they thought enough of this horse to run him in a grade 3.
And the connections are going to help you get that price. Martin Chuan and Blair Jordan are, Blair. They're definitely not ones that take money.
Look,
Not like
$249,000 stakes race, lost by a length. $85,000 non-winners won at Keeneland on the turf. Those races come up tough. 12 horses, he beat 9 of them.
definitely.
This 6 is a
And who's to say that he won't improve again on the dirt? I know it was a
that's
sloppy
what I'm saying.
track,
He's going to move up off that
but,
race.
That was-
obviously they kept him on the turf and they kept him on the synthetic, thinking that, I don't know, maybe they were, who knows, maybe they were pointing to something like this with this horse and they wanted to keep the horse healthy, because a lot of times, you see these trainers, depends on on what the intention of the trainer is, but sometimes a lot of trainers with young horses, they, they'll run them on the synthetic or the turf to keep them from getting all beat up. And then when they think that they're good enough or ready enough to start taking on, older dirt horses and stuff like that, and they feel like they're in condition, then they'll start running. And then that's when you see them, jump up because they haven't been like beat up like all the other dirt horses have been, running 10, 20 dirt races already. The horse has kind of been like, as far as that goes, been kind of like protected a little bit. Maybe they thought, okay, let's build this horse's strength up and keep him safe. And then we'll put him on the dirt, and then we'll see what because
I think you could throw out the race 2 back because that was off a layoff too.
Yeah.
So throw that race out.
I will say, I mean, I was closing on a pick 5. This is the last race of the day in the sequence, and my 2 horses were Rivalry and Sun Thunder. And this horse did trip out. I mean, he got cut the corner, rode the rail, held off Sun Thunder. It was a perfect.
That's a good final time too, brother.
Yeah, it was a great ride. I don't know if he's going to get quite the trip, but certainly an interesting horse.
Yeah, he might be definitely one of those must-use underneath horses also for your superfecta or something like that.
Absolutely.
Now, let me also mention, I think the 8's got a big chance.
You convinced me.
I think the 8's got a big chance in here. Let me mention why. I don't know if you guys agree, but
so
I think
are we going like all here?
Yes.
No. Do you agree that the 8 will get a good trip, or do you think he'll be too close?
No, I think he's going to start. I think that's a perfect trip. But this 8, I think the morning line's off here, as you said, Gabe. This 8's going favorite. I mean, no.
Yeah.
This 8's probably going favorite. A little lighter on the numbers, but the upside's all with this horse.
Do you guys agree that Gaffley owns a good tactical jockey?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. He's smart. He's very tactical. He's like Pratt out here in the West Coast. He always has his horse in the right spot. So I'm thinking Gaffleone should have this horse lay in 3rd or 4th in a nice spot, out of trouble. So I'm thinking the 8's a major contender in here as well. And I'm also thinking the 5's a contender too, guys. But will the 5 the 5 could rate. Look at that race 3 back. 1 mile and 136.
Yeah, the 5 only wins from rating. If the 5 rates, which I think Leperoux, that's the idea of having Leperoux on. That's why I used the 5.
Right? I'm thinking that's the point they put Leperoux on.
Yeah. I like the 5 and the 8. That's why I used them. 5, 8, 11, 3.
I mean, the horse is 11 out of 17 in the exacta. This is a horse that tries. Mm-hmm. All right, one more question I have for Jeff.
Yep, and then I got to run
the trifecta here.
Yes.
Okay, how come you haven't mentioned the 9? Tell me, dude, I've been handicapping with you for like 2-3 years. This 9 looks like your kind of horse. Tell me I'm not wrong.
I'm with you. It's just this is a grade 3. You know what I mean? And I just don't know if this horse is classy enough to get up. And there's some other closers I like.
Maybe 3rd or 4th? Better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't cut the horse from my trifecta.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. I think the horse looks like your kind of horse for a try.
Big weight break, one of the biggest weight breaks due to the handicap.
Oh, that's a good point. Look at that.
I mean,
Lasix angle again.
Playing against the 4. So now that horse got scratched, I kind of had to like relook my handicapping a little bit. But, as I said at the beginning, I was 11-1-8 that I was going to use. And I think you guys talked me into probably using the 6. Now that I'm remembering that race and how it broke my heart. So
11's in really good form right now, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, guys. I got to run. Have a great night. Thanks for the invite.
All right. No problem, man.
Guys.
We'll talk Saudi tomorrow.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye, Jeff.
Let's see. All right. Well, we talked about this race. Now it's time to go to the Saudi.
Let's go overseas, over the Caspian Sea.
Hey, Gabe, before you go to the Saudi, I've been quiet all night. I'm the new guy. I'm a competitive swim coach that just got into horse racing, and this has been fantastic for me to listen to tonight. So kind of the way I'm trying to figure out is I used to train kids to get to their peak, and I'm trying to figure out how trainers do that and what's going on here. And the information tonight's been so great for me to learn and to listen to. So thanks for letting me listen.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the reasons why we all do this. We all want to, have people. And one thing I wanted to go on is because I'm also recording this for YouTube as well. And trust me, I get a lot of private messages from people telling me, I learned so much from that video, or I learned this something. There's a lot of people out there that have a thirst to learn, or even people that have been, even somebody like me. I mean, I've been looking at horses my whole life, 40 years. But we never stop learning. We always are working on our craft. I remember me and Bobby said that in the interview. Remember, Bobby, we're always working to be better every day.
Exactly. You always have to learn and improve.
And things adapt too. Like the no Lasix, that wasn't around last year, 2 years ago. So we always have to adapt too. Even us people that are seasoned veterans, we have to adapt too to new things. To new surfaces and so there's a lot of things. So I'm glad you like it, and I know a lot of people out there like it too. And it's my pleasure.
The good thing is, I mean, I listen to you guys. You're willing to listen to a newbie like me, or let me listen, and it really means a lot. So, and I'll start putting myself out there a little bit more. But I always like what you guys do, and I appreciate you letting me join.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna go over the Saudi right now, which is a tough race in my opinion. I looked at the Saudi earlier. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do in this race. I'm curious to know what you guys like. I'm moving up to it. I'm doing it slowly but surely, because it's the first one on the list here. Where is it? Okay, I'm right there because I know it's right before Aqueduct. Here we go.
Yeah.
The Saudi.
So,
I hate to say it, but White Barrio is going to be tough, right?
yeah, he's my top pick. I put 3 down here. I have White Barrio, Lemon Pop, and another lemon horse. There we go. And Derma Sotagake. So I kind of took the exacta from the Breeders' Cup Classic, and then I threw Lemon Pop in there because he's in very good form. Ushaba Tesoro.
I like that horse too. He's very good.
Ushaba Tesoro broke my heart in the Breeders' Cup Classic, so I'm kind of done with him. Then the rest kind of look too slow or not good enough or in weird form. So I would lean on those 3.
Is Derma
broke my
going
heart.
to run with his eye injury he had on the plane ride?
Yeah. I think all reports on him were good.
Okay.
Also, I'd be a little against Saudi Crown. So I think Derma Sotagake, Lemon Pop, and White Bar will be my 3 to hopefully close out this pick 6 on Saudi Day.
I mean, I usually want a price in this kind of race, but I mean, I was just looking at White Barrio. And then I was hearing Richard Dutrow saying that he did a lot of different things that Safi Joseph did with this horse. So, he changed the shoes. He also has it to where he doesn't work 11 days before the race. And then the day of the race, he blows the horse out. So he really took this horse over and improved him. I'm not taking anything away from Safi, but, Richard Dutrow, anybody that's been in this game a long time knows Dutrow's a friggin' master trainer. So he knows his horses.
Huber called it last year. Once he left Safi's barn, he said this horse is going to make such an improvement. And he said the same thing you said. Nothing against Safi, but the horse was never going to improve at Gulfstream. The best thing that horse ever did was to go to New York, train over the Saratoga track, train over the heavier Belmont track, and then especially with the trainer Dutrow and everything like that, and just being up there, just being up there, I mean, because you saw it. White Barrio had maybe 2 great races, and that was the 2 races right before the Kentucky Derby. And then after that, the horse just never did anything really.
Yeah,
and
you're
then,
right.
He worked miracles. He gave him time off, did whatever he does, and then training in New York. I mean, the horse is a completely different horse now.
The horse is going to be very tough.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that one trainer's better than the other. It's just maybe the difference in tactics, training tactics have moved this horse forward. So I completely agree. However, the more I look at it, I kind of want.
Plus, maybe the horse maybe wasn't mature enough when he was 2 and 3 years old. I mean, he did his improvement, but he was just kind of in a stalemate. And then being laid off for a while, giving him time to get into
I don't know,
himself,
guys.
grow a
I
little
told
bit.
you, I
and-
heard that Detro mention a lot of different things he did. Put different shoes and different training regimen.
Of course.
I mean, and look, I mean, it speaks for itself. Look at, I mean, if you're a buyer person, without with Safi, I mean, 106, 110, 106. With Sid Safi. So
Yeah, and the more I look at it, though, out of the Breeders' Cup Classic, I kind of want Derma Sotogake second off the layoff. He ran in that Breeders' Cup Classic first off of the layoff since the Kentucky Derby. Let's put that in perspective, guys. Came out of the Derby, trained right up to the Classic, was a part of obviously didn't get the lead that day, but made that massive run at White Abario at the end. He was the only horse coming. I think you're getting second off the layoff. This horse is pointed here, likes the track. Likes the area. I mean, I think this horse is going to be a huge, huge
definitely.
improvement.
He's definitely a must use.
Top jockey. I mean, this horse screams like if you wouldn't have him on a pick six, I wouldn't be buying any of that ticket.
I want to also mention that he ran a big race in the Kentucky Derby when he ran 6.
I don't know if anybody knows. I forgot who got scratched, but somebody got scratched, and Scotland Yard is now in the race.
Yeah, though I wouldn't give him much of a chance. He wasn't good here, and in America, and his form over there has not improved. I would.
What who was the horse that got scratched? Does anybody know?
Oh, I forgot. It was one of the Japanese horses, I think.
Nobody that's important.
No, it wasn't a contender, I don't think.
I didn't even hear anybody got scratched.
Yeah, it just happened a while ago.
Yeah, it happened earlier today. I don't know, but it definitely wasn't Lemon Pop.
No, I don't think it was Lemon Pop.
Now, how about National Treasure? Nobody's messing with National Treasure?
Complete toss.
I don't like that fucker.
If he wins this race, I'll be surprised. If he wins this race, then he really is a top level horse. But I mean, I think he's, he won a race. He sat kind of in that guard spot. No other horses came. If you look at the Pegasus World Cup, I mean, Hoist the Gold was fast. Gulfstream placed the speed. He sat right behind Hoist the Gold. He didn't have to contest with any other horses. They were all 100 lengths behind. He just went by that rival in the stretch. And that race is probably a little too long for Hoist the Gold. And those fractions are a little too fast. So, I mean, I would say that's an ideal trip for him. I can't see him doing it again.
The horse that's scratched isn't even on the form, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think it came out after. Yeah, Gabe, I think you're good.
Yeah, so we're good, Bobby. The horse that scratched isn't even in some Micho horse.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I heard about that. Well, let's move to Lemon Pop, because I think you got to watch this horse's race. I mean, wicked turn of foot, won his last 2 races. I mean, has been on a model of consistency over there, albeit back then the races weren't good, but the last couple races were top level company. Lost to Sibelius, Switzerland, and Ghana last year. I don't think he wants to go that
visually
distance.
impressive.
Visually impressive. I don't think he wants to go that distance. He wanted to go longer. So top that Sibelius race from last year, which is the mile race, and I think definitely at Dubai, I think definitely go here. The Golden Shaheen is too short for him. So if you look at his races at this distance, model of consistency, really good horse.
Yeah, I've liked this horse for a while too. I like this horse a lot.
Did you watch his races, Bobby?
I watched the last 2 races. Very impressive.
Visually impressive to you?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in form. Lemon Pop is the horse that, they say that this is the one that he might not quite class up to from his old races, but his recent races do, and he's the consistent horse that is going to be there at the end.
Senior Buscador, trifecta, maybe?
Yeah, try super horse. Can't really. Last time couldn't really get there, but he broke my heart because I had him ending the pick 6 at Gulfstream on the Pegasus Day. I had the winner, but he was obviously for a lot more money.
Way more money.
Another 0 at the end of a whole other digit. But I don't know why this Alvarado took him away from the rail. It was probably there were 2 bad. I had First Mission, I had National Treasure, I had Buscador and O'Connor closing the pick 6. O'Connor looked like he made a decent move, but then Paco took him out of the 1 spot and into the 5 path and started carving away on him. Bad trip there, and Buscador got a bad trip too. He was on the rail, and then he had every chance to win that race, and Alvarado swung him like 80 wide to get off the rail, and he could not mow down National Treasure.
I think if you take Alvarado off that horse and put somebody else on him, I think it's a different story. Alvarado sucks.
I just thought that if Alvarado had kept him on the rail, he'd win that race. And obviously my pick, my $2,000-3,000 pick six is now $10,000. But it was a brutal beat. If anyone had Buscador, I feel ya. I had him on pick fours to everything too. It's brutal. But I think he can get a better trip here if he just saves some ground. Definitely try horse.
How about Saudi Crown? Anybody got any thoughts on Saudi Crown?
No.
1 cup below, and I don't. Distance is This class is a little too much at this distance. That's a little too far. That's just my opinion. Wouldn't be shocked if he ran well though.
Going to the
I'll
lead,
tell you,
right?
the horse that I really like is the 10 horse Power and Numbers.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't look at this one yet.
Oh
Talk
my
about this
God,
one.
I've been watching the horse work out the last couple of days, and oh my God, this horse looks fucking absolutely beautiful.
11 out of 15.
This is your local horse, but he has been beating up against the same kind of weak competition at the local track, at King Abdulaziz race course. These horses are, just to put them in perspective, they're basically like allowance horses at Santa Anita. It's kind of like I would even put them maybe lower. I'd say it's like allowance horses at maybe like Turfway or something.
Right, yeah, no, I mean I understand that, but no,
but he's in form.
You definitely have to give edges to these types of horses that already have races over the track over there and stuff.
Yeah, but this is his home track. This is his stable. This is his barn.
I mean, especially the horse. The horse came from Monmouth.
Yeah,
what
are you talking about?
The horse started his career at Aqueduct in Monmouth, and then the trainer took him over.
About?
Power and Numbers.
Oh, this horse is started from here?
He used to race it in Aqueduct and Saratoga and Monmouth.
Oh, wow.
He's a very nice horse. What are you kidding?
Yeah, he was a private purchase, like many of the horses in this field are, C defunded.
But he might be one to put, like I said, I've been watching the workouts in the morning and stuff like that, and like Lemon Pop looks beautiful. This horse looked out fucking standing on the track. I was like, wow, the way he was like floating over the track and stuff like that, like his extension, and I was like, damn, I was like, wow, he looks fucking nice.
We don't like Tesoro because he didn't win it in America?
That last effort was just disappointing. He was supposed to close into that pace and get the right setup. He didn't. I could see him running better now, but I wouldn't. I just can't get back to him on top after after Derma beat him and Roy Barrio beat him. I'd rather take those two and then Lemon Pop.
Derma Sotagate. You guys remember I had this horse in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Oh, this horse was coming. I thought he was going to get him.
Yeah. Hubert loved him that day.
Yeah, so did I, man. Wida Barrio was funny because I know we don't caw that much in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but Wida Barrio got hammered in the pick threes and doubles and everything.
People knew he was ready.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people on the inside were obviously unloading on Wida Barrio.
Well, he became more obvious after the scratches, right? Of Go Rocket Ride, obviously the fatal accident, and I think what was it, Arcangelo threw a shoe or something after those.
Arcangelo and Go Rocket Ride, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he became. I could see that he became just too tough for the field. It kind of became him and Ushaba didn't show up. So, and Arabian Night, of course, so it kind of became a 3-horse race, and this horse didn't show up. But Derma Sotagake, I've never been on this horse. The last time I was on him was when he won in that UAE. I've never been on this horse. I was so against him in the Kentucky Derby. I was against him last time. I'm kind of on him after that last effort. He really impressed me. I still was able to cash tickets because he got second and he didn't win. But I think
we got to mention he ran a
impressive.
very good race in the Derby. I know he ran 6th, but if you watch it, he ran a very good race. And
yeah, he did run a good race, and he ran a lot better than I thought he was. Because I wasn't on him either, in that race at all either.
that was
But
another race I
he's
ran
definitely, as he,
Two
late in
fills.
his, giving him that time off and late into the 3-year-old season, and now coming into 4-year-old season and stuff like that. He's definitely, and I'll tell you, and I didn't like him at first, but I loved Mind Your Biscuits. I used to love that horse a lot back in the day. Mind Your Business, Mind Your Biscuits. He won the Dubai Cup that year in his last race, and that was always he was always a good horse. I always liked that horse, but I just didn't see it with this horse. But now that he's getting older, he's definitely improving, and he's definitely he's moving forward and stuff like that. And I think what's helped also is that they kept him here. They didn't take him back to Japan. They kept him here in training, and then they raced him again at Santa Anita and stuff like that. Like I really love Forever Young, and she's he's in the 4th race on Saturday.
Me too.
I put that horse on my in my virtual stable last year, and I think if he wins that race, my opinion, like I hate that they wait until the last moment to bring these horses. Like if they get a chance, if they know that they're going to run in the Kentucky Derby or something like that, like if this horse wins and he wins the Win and You're In on Saturday, in my opinion, they should immediately bring, if they want to be like really serious about it, and they think that they are going to run him in the Kentucky Derby,
Bring him to a local prep.
My humble opinion is ship him right to Churchill. Just ship him over there, get him working out, get him another, put him in another prep race or something like that, later on, maybe like in like April or something like that, or like late March, and get him used to this, because they bring these horses over like a week before the race, and like really, I on like if we were bringing a horse over there for a big race, like I like how like Doug O'Neill does it. Like he brings them over for a couple months, gets them a race or two under their belt, and then you know what I'm saying. So it's like get him working out over the surface, get him used to the surface, give him a race to see how he does and see if he can improve or whatever. So like if they're serious, I think that they should bring, if the horse wins and he gets in, they should bring this horse immediately over to the United States, get him acclimated, send him to Churchill, get him working out over there over the surface, getting used to. And if they do that, that horse will be fucking tough.
My fear with Forever Young was, and Track Abe and I spoke about this last week, about he seems to be that horse everyone loves. No one stops talking about this horse, and these horses don't always win when that's the case. Everyone loves them. Every handicapper, everyone I talk to won't shut up about this horse. Everyone on Twitter last 2 weeks, this is the Derby.
No, I mean, I mean, I'm not like Joanne, who friggin', is in love with the friggin' horse, and all she talks about is this. Like I like the horse enough that I put him in the stable. I thought he had potential, and I said this is probably going to be one of the Japanese horses that I need to pay attention to that are probably going to come over here for the Derby. So that's why last year, and you can't take nothing away. The horse is 3 for 3. He's, I mean, it's a really nice horse. You can't really say anything bad about him, but like this will probably maybe be probably the toughest field that he'll probably face up to this point. So we'll see what he has and see how he handles it and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is if he does win, like, the trainer should give, whether he thinks he can win the Derby or not, I would send the horse over here, and get him acclimated to here, give him, give him that couple months to get used to everything, get used to the, to the way how we run horses here, get used to the Churchill surface, give him that little edge to see if he even likes it, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I agree that you should, since this is not an official prep race, you should go to a local prep. But unfortunately, because of how these horses are campaigned and the money situation, he's probably going to go run in the UAE Derby. We've seen this tale happen before. It's unfortunate.
Probably, yeah.
He should get a local prep in, and then he would be much tougher. But this horse, note that this race starts the pick six. And I think it's a $1 or $2 pick six, and this horse Forever Young will be 3 to 5. So just
everybody and their mothers
be ready. On stateside, he'll definitely be 3 to 5. So just be ready, to decide how you're going to sequence your pick six based off of him, because I know Bookham Dano's a sprinter that's stretching out, who's had a lot of success here in one race, is very impressive.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait to see that horse too. I like that horse a lot.
Yeah, there might be a couple others. So
my NHC mentor, he's really good friends with that Derek Ryan guy trainer, and he was because when I talked to Hubert 2 days ago, he was really excited. He's like, I can't wait for Saturday. I really want to see. He goes, I know that Forever Young is in the race, but he's like, I think Derek has a really nice horse here, and and he goes, I'm surprised, but I'm kind of happy that he sent the horse over there, because obviously he must think, it's not the first time that he's done it, but he must think that he's got a nice horse, and the horse does look nice. I mean, the horse looks, he looks pretty good.
He was my top pick, and Forever Young was my defensive use here. Note that I would start the pick six with those two, but note that Derek Ryan's stats stretching out off of out of sprint races are not good.
Yeah,
but just note that in DRF formulator. But I definitely like the horse. I have the horse in my fantasy league for the Triple Crown Fantasy League, so he's one of my horses that I claimed.
What's this? What Triple Crown Fantasy League? What's this?
Yeah, it's just a group of people. I actually have Sierra Leone. He was my topic, and I got Maymoon in the 5th round. So my team's currently in 3rd out of 11 teams.
Shit, man! I haven't played fantasy horse racing in like 15 years.
It's fun. So I'm hoping he can get a win, even though this is not a Derby prep.
Where can you play this at?
No, it's a private. It's like a private group.
Oh,
it's with.
I went in.
Yeah, next year I'll definitely. I can ask, but I like the horse. I mean, this is not an official prep, so they have to. Hopefully, he can win this, and they'll stretch him out in the UAE Derby. But it is 5 points if he wins, because it's 5 points if you win any non-Derby prep race. So I'm rooting for him, but I had to defensively use Forever Young because I know he's probably the horse to beat, and he'll be 3 to 5.
So how does this fantasy league work? Like, what's the rules?
You draft 5 rounds of horses, and we draft at the beginning at the end of December. Mid-December before the preps, we draft 5 horses. First round, I took Sierra Leone. Second round,
it's all 3-year-olds.
All 3-year-olds. It's a trip, and you get points for the Derby prep races, and then 5 points if they just win. And then if you want to drop a horse and claim a horse, it's 20 points. Like I dropped Heartland and claimed Bookham Dano. He's our only claim, so that was minus 20 points. We drafted Maymoon in the 5th round. He won 2 5-point races, obviously at maiden and allowance, and we have Sierra Leone who just won the 50-point race, so we're in 3rd currently. And then Rocketeer, one of our other horses, just started working again. And then the last horse we have is currently still injured. But
so how many horses do you guys use in the stable?
5. It's 5. It's a 5-horse stable.
Man. Well, I don't know if you guys remember years ago, but like back in like 2009, 2010. I played from 2009 through 2012, and TVG had a free website that you can, you went to TVG, and on the bottom they had, all these little links, and it had a link to go to their fantasy. They had a fantasy horse racing league back then. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but and that was when I was like totally nuts for the Kentucky Derby, and I was doing everything I could to learn and everything like that. And in their league, but you're playing against like it's not. I know what you guys are doing. You guys are doing like how we used to do our fantasy football leagues and stuff like that, privately. But like with this one, it was you were playing against thousands of people from all over the world, and you drafted three 3-year I'm sorry, 6 3-year-old colts, 6 3-year-old fillies. You had to pick 2 jockeys, 2 trainers, and then an alternate. And then every week, or you would have your lineup, and then as the prep races were rolling through, like like you said, you would get like you would get points for every time your jockey won a race, every time your trainer won a race, every time if the horse won a race, or depending on the kind of race it was, you would get like a certain amount of points. And I thought it was friggin' awesome. And then they did away with it, but
That sounds super cool.
I've been
Wish they brought that
dying
back.
for something like that ever again, because I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. I was like, wow, this is totally awesome. And after that, I have never seen or heard anybody mentioning about fantasy horse racing up until like maybe like the past like few months or something like that. But I was like, man, I would love to do that again. That would be awesome, especially with what I do. I mean, I pick my horses, like all my Derby horses are like everybody that I have on my list and stuff like that. Like all my horses are already, I got them picked already right after Saratoga is over, and I'm ready to go. And I just ride or die with my horses until, if they get hurt or whatever, or they do bad or whatever. But, I pick the horses that I think that I like, and I think that, that have potential and breeding and all that stuff. And, and then we see how it goes. I haven't done it. I've been doing it the last 3 years, and I kind of got off it because that was like my thing for like, from 2009, ever since I started going to Saratoga back in 2008, it was like every year by the end of Saratoga, and definitely before the Breeders' Cup, I had my X amount of horses that I liked for the Derby. And then I would just like, we didn't have virtual stables back then. So I just had all my horses written down in a notebook, and I would follow them, whatever races they ran and how they did and all that. And I would keep track of it manually and stuff like that, And, some of them didn't make it. Some of them made it, but, like for me, like the Kentucky Derby is like a huge emotional ride for me. Cause it's like, I'm like, everybody used to think I was crazy. What do you mean you pick your horses a year before I'm like, I find my horses and I ride with these fucking horses. And if they don't make it, then they don't make it. But if they make it, then, I got my Derby horses. And I just thought it was so awesome, like to do that. You know what I'm saying? And,
you don't deal with Stable Duel?
I'm sorry?
Stable Duel?
I used to do Stable Duel. I don't play Stable Duel anymore. I haven't done that in like a year.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, remember like a couple years ago, it was really hot and everybody was doing it. That's when I joined, and it was hot for like a year or so. And then when you started doing all the, when you created our little group and we started doing when Horse Tourneys came out with the private tournaments, pretty much after we started doing our private tournaments together, I kind of like, that was like probably about the time period when I kind of started losing interest in like the Stable Duel and stuff like that. But oh yeah, like years ago, like I remember, I think in like 2012 or so, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it was a website. I think it's still going because I still get the emails from it. But it was a website called Derby Wars.
Yeah,
and years ago, TVD was promoting the shit out of this website. So I joined it, and it's the same thing as Horse Tourneys. It's the same thing, but it was a little bit different. Like,
except less popular.
It was definitely less popular, but it was like I said, I used to see it on HRTV and TVG, and I'm like, what is this Derby Wars? And then I looked at it, and then I joined it, and I did it for a couple years.
I still got
I
21.
I was doing like the lock, like how Horse Tourneys calls it pick and praise, where you put your lineup in before the races start, and then you can't change anything.
$21.60 in there.
Huh?
I still got $21.60.
I don't think I have anybody. I haven't been on that site since like I don't know. I gotta say like
I know. I just recently because I got
baby.
because I got an email and they reminded me. And
I still get
I got money
emails
in
all
there.
the time from Candace, right? Candace.
Yeah. Exactly, Candace from Derby Wars.
Yeah. I still get the emails.
But every time I try to get into a contest, it doesn't fill.
I have a DraftKings account that when I was living in Massachusetts, I set up like 15 years ago that I never even fucking used. I still get the emails for all the promotions. I never even used that fucking thing.
So wait, so getting back to this race real quick before we go, what is your top 4 in here, Bobby? In the Saudi Cup?
I am on Derma.
Okay,
Lemon
Derma.
Pop, Power in Numbers, and I guess I got to use White Barrio. I guess.
No Tesoro.
Yeah, him too. I guess I would go with those 5.
That might be a superfecta box, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's Lemon Pop, Derma, Sotogake, and White Barrio.
I'll tell you one horse that's got no chance is Defunded.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I don't even know why he's in the race. Why is Defunded even in this race?
I mean, look what happened when those horses go over there; they just go completely south. Yeah, this horse is about no shot. And they'll buy it. These Arabs and Middle Easterners, they'll buy these kind of tired older horses from the States that have a lot of accolades, and they'll buy them, and they won't run anywhere there, but they'll run like 4th and 5th in a bunch of $2 million races. Eventually, they can make some of their money back. It's that no shot.
What was your 4 in order, Michael?
In order, I would say
Lemon Pop on top.
I mean, I kind of want to get cute, but I would say I would go with a White Barrio, Derma, Lemon Pop, and then I'm trying to find a 4th because those are like feel really strongly about those 3, so I got to find someone to throw into the 4 hole.
I really think Ushba Tesoro.
Yeah, I'd probably throw Ushba just to give him one more shot to close. So I'll throw him in as my 4th pick. So there you go.
He's proven in Dubai.
Yeah, so that'll be my White Barrio, Derma, Lemon Pop, and Ushba.
And if Power in Numbers gets bet, I think that might be a horse to look at.
Yeah, that might be a Gabe watch the board horse.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the board on that horse. If he's like 15 to 1 or lower, I might consider him. I think Defunded should be 50 to 1.
Yeah, him and then the horse that drew in are tough to make a case for. But are you going to be watching the race at Clockers, Gabe? Because they got it on the TV for early bird. You can bet.
No, I'm going. Oh, I'm going to barely wake up and watch it. I used to do that. Back in the day.
But... Yeah, it's fun. This race note goes off at 9:40 Pacific Standard, so not super early. So still, you get.
Do you know what time the first race starts?
Oh no, if you want to get, I don't know what time zone you're in. Are you in Central or Eastern?
Eastern.
I'm Eastern.
Eastern.
I'll give you the answer right now, Bobby.
Probably like
a visual answer too.
6 o'clock Eastern, something like that. 7 Eastern.
Right here.
7 Eastern.
What is that? 7T. What is that? Eastern? 7T. What?
17
I think that's 7 p.m. their time. I don't know.
Okay, so if it's 7, because we know the Saudi will be like 9:30, right, or 9:45.
It's 9:40 our time, so that's 12:40 Eastern. So take like 6 hours, probably the first 5 hours before that. It's probably starts at around 7 o'clock your time, 7:30, 8 o'clock your time, somewhere around there Eastern.
Okay, well here 5 hours before. So
yeah, 5 hours before
our
9:40
time.
is 5 is.
Yeah, I think this is Eastern time. God, so 4 o'clock.